Yo, what's going on? And welcome back to some more Umamusume. Last week we talked about this Sprinter Stakes event, and we also built a Sprinter at the same time that was King Halo, and I think we did a pretty good job in that video. We also talked about the other characters that you could use, which are Sakura Bakshin and Maruzinski, as well as the new character Kurenchan. So today I kind of wanted to check back into that event, because we're now halfway through, and people are probably realizing whether or not they adequately prepared and are trying to figure out if they're in a good space or not. So here we are on the last day of Taiki Shuttle's Legend Race. I left all my races today so we can do them real quick. We'll probably won't show the full races, but we'll just like do the view results so we can see how we're actually doing. So we'll go ahead and click on the race. What I have learned from these races is that getting one win is really important, right? Because you get these first win bonuses, which is a lot of the shards, carrots, and money as well. But also what I've come to understand is your place in the race decides how many of these shards actually get. I'm sure that that's kind of obvious to people, but essentially, like, from experience, I've learned that your first few places tend to take one shard each away from the reward. So you get 7 if you get first place and beat the other legend racer. But I think the lowest you can get is like 3, if I'm not mistaken. 3 or 4. And then the other thing to take into account is if you win, you get a bonus reward. I think it's under here. Yeah, so if you win, you get one of these rewards. Either some money, some, what are these called? Support points, or you can get another fragment, which I think maybe a lot of people aren't taking into account, that you can get an extra fragment here randomly. Now, I don't know what the odds between these things are, but I think this makes winning even more important, because you could get that extra fragment. You're only getting 7 for the race, and participation is good and all, but getting that actual win could give you a chance to get another, and then obviously the first win is important. But anyways, let's talk about actually how everyone's doing in the race. When we made our Sprinter, we made this King Halo. Now, I still haven't figured out if this King Halo is better than my Maruzinski or not yet, because when I use them in PvP, they're pretty back and forth on who actually wins the races. The King Halo obviously has a higher rating by a little bit, and this should be a really good stat line for you to win these legend races, because if my Maruzinski is winning, or is consistently going back and forth with this King Halo, and then is also winning the legend races, you should be able to win with someone of stats at this caliber. So essentially what we did is we win a whole bunch of speed. You probably don't need quite that much stamina, especially for this event, but maybe for actually winning the person's story, you might need more stamina. And then you end up getting a lot of power, which is just nice from getting the speed, and then as much wit as you can get to actually proc your skills. But anyways, this King Halo, probably very good for the event, but what I've been using for everything so far is this Maruzinski. Now, the X factor that this Maruzinski has that the King Halo does not have is we got Sprint to S. Got pretty lucky to get that inspiration and get it to S. So what we end up with here is more wit than what King Halo has, less power, same amount of speed, and then we have less stamina. But the stamina was pretty much just there to make sure that Maruzinski could win her career, essentially. And yeah, with my Maruzinski, it's been kind of weird, because for the first races, like the first time you do one of the legend races, you have to watch it, right? And until you win it, I think you have to watch it. Now, both of them we've had so far, King Halo and then Taiki Shuttle. For some reason, I lost the first race. One of them, I got rushed, and that kind of messed up the entire race. But the other one, I just randomly got second. Other than that, I've won every single race. So I don't know if it's just cursed when I watch the race or something. Sometimes I just perform abnormally bad, but every other time I have gotten first place. And I think that a lot of the times my character is favored to get first place. So here we'll just go ahead and show um, the results I can get. So far, my experience has been that even if I'm bad mood, even if I'm awful mood, I win. But obviously there's a lot of RNG. Now, Taiki Shuttle here is also bad mood, so that means that I'm actually the favorite over her. So we are just going to run the race and expect to win. Now, if you're really concerned about it, you can always just use a parfait to get your mood up to max. Great. Which gets you a bunch of extra stats, right? Like the difference between bad and great is bad gives you minus 2% of all your stats, whereas great gives you plus 4% to all your stats. So it'll give you a little bit of boost if you think you're behind, but so far I haven't been using them at all. And we'll just go ahead, pop the results for all of them and see how we're doing. Okay. I swear, I have won every race except for the first one. I kind of expected that this could possibly happen. Now, when we look at the results, you can see that it's very close, right? Like, the other racers aren't really in competition with us at all. But it was very close. We're only half a length behind, and we could always replay it and see what went wrong. But I'm fairly confident here that Maruzinski can win. Now, here's what I was talking about. If you get first, you get 7. Now, if you get second, you lose 1. And I'm pretty sure third, you lose another. And then fourth, I think you lose 1 more. And then after that, I don't think you lose anymore. But obviously, the benefit to getting first is not only you get 7, but you get a bonus reward that could give you another shard, or it could just give you other resources, which is nice too. So we'll run them again. And you want to make sure that you're running them every single day, even if you don't think you can win, just to get these rewards as well, because this will get you just an extra 2 of the shards and resources that you can use. Because I know everyone is probably hurting for monies right now. So anywhere you could get money for free is nice. But anyways, we'll run the last 2 just so we can hopefully get the firsts that I think we should be getting. And here we got normal mood. Where's Taiki Shuttle? She's up here with great mood. She's actually #1 favorite, but I think we'll still win. I don't know why we lost that last one, but you know what happens sometimes. There's a lot of RNG in these races. So there we win the race. She got second, we got first. That's my experience with King Halo was that it was almost always me in first and King Halo in second. My experience with Taiki Shuttle has been it's almost always me in first and Taiki Shuttle in third for some reason. Not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, here you see we get the 7 and then we get victory rewards, which is the monies. In this case, it could also be the support points, or in some cases you can get another extra shard. I keep calling them shards, but I guess they're called like stars, right? What are they technically called? Star pieces. But anyways, let's run the last race, and then that'll probably be it. Alright, we're normal again. She's bad. I think that should be a victory for us. But again, if you're worried about the event or you want extra rewards, don't be afraid to pop those parfaits. Because I think most people should have an okay amount of them. And you can always get more from the daily shops. So if you are struggling... Okay, so here we got it. Yeah, but if you are struggling to win the races, or you don't think you'll win without it, then go ahead and use them, I would say. It's pretty much like you get 3 a day for 5,000 money each. But yeah, here we got the 8 shards. And then this is the last day of Taiki Shuttle. So this is as many Taiki Shuttle shards as I'm going to get. It doesn't tell you how many we have from here, but we'll pick up all the rewards. And let's go... We could go over to where you can actually see all of your shards and stuff, in case you don't already know. So when you go to trainee here under advanced, there's obviously the star unlock for characters that you have already, right? So Maruzinski I have. We go here, it shows you how many star pieces she has and how many you need to get up to the next star rank, which would be 4. But in this case, I don't actually have Taiki Shuttle. So if you're looking to see how many you have for a character that you don't own yet, you can always go to trainee here, which I'm not sure if everyone knows about this menu. You can actually unlock characters from this menu, which I think, oh, I backed out on accident. I think this is going to be a great way for people who play the game for a long time to get a bunch of characters that they don't pull just naturally. And I've already done it once. I think El Condor Pasa, because she was in one of the first Legend Racer events, I actually got her just based off of this because I didn't pull her yet. But we can look at Taiki Shuttle here, and we have 88 star pieces currently. And you can see here that there's an unlock button. If we were to get to 150, we'd be able to hit the unlock button and just straight up unlock the character. So I think that's a really cool mechanic that essentially after you've done a legend race for someone twice, then you get the character, right? Like you're probably getting about 75 every single time. You can see here I got more already. But yeah, after the character comes around twice through legend races, you probably just have them for free. So I think that's going to be a really good mechanic for getting a bunch of characters in the long term without having to pull them all. I'm kind of curious how it's going to work, because this is the first time there's going to be a new character, like a brand new character in here that's going to give you shards for them. Other than that, I haven't gotten any shards for any of the new characters that released that weren't in the original group of characters. So I don't know how often a character that was released later on is going to come through in legend races, but I would expect, since they already set the precedent, that it can happen. And there's probably like a whole, what am I trying to say, a whole like set of where you could see all the events that they did in Japan, so you could see what legend racers are coming up there. And we already know what the next group of legend races is going to be, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. I just know that Tokai Teo is there, which will be nice, but it won't quite get me there to the 150. So we'll have to see if I could pull out some extra star pieces from somewhere. But yeah, anyways, if you didn't know about this menu, it is a menu where you can just unlock characters once you get enough star pieces. So keep that in mind. Maybe keep track of how many you have, and you can plan ahead. It also gives you an idea of if you should be buying the shards in the daily shops that appear. So far, I've been prioritizing the shards because I want more characters, but you could get 3 of these daily shops a day, and they have 2 shards in each of them. So you're getting 6 shards a day. The shards cost more the higher rarity the character has, or is. So it could cost quite a bit of monies. That's pretty much where my monies have been going at the moment, besides leveling up support cards, so keep that in mind. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I just wanted to check in on the sprinter event. You saw the stats of the 2 sprinters that I would use for the event. I've only been using Marazinski just because she can do the entire event, but I think the King Halo that I have is also very viable for everything. It might even be better. I haven't experimented with it just because there's nowhere to be like, oh, can I just test without running the actual race? It doesn't really let you do that. But like I said, they tend to go back and forth in PvP, so probably both of them are good. So if you've still been struggling, you can kind of see what thresholds you might be trying to hit stat-wise, and if you can get an actual sprinter S instead of the A that most people are going to be sitting at, then you might even have a little bit extra advantage. And then hopefully you kind of understand how the rewards work now, but definitely make sure, even if you don't think you can win, just run it anyways. You'll get some rewards for it. Like, I remember the race where I got rushed against King Halo, I got 11th. I was like, this is terrible. This really sucks for getting my rewards, but you still got 3 shards out of it. And if you can win in the future, then you'll get a lot more. But 3 is essentially half of the 7. So even if you get like dead last, you're probably getting half the rewards anyways. So participation trophies do exist in this game. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.